Hello and welcome to a special edition of the Market Street Studio. I am not Matt Westerhold. He is on a day off, so I am pinch hitting for him. I am reporter Andy Oriole. Today, my guests are the founders of Sandusky Artisans Recovery Community Center, Joey and Mary Supina. And why you're here today, and you've had previous appearances on this show, is really special because you have been named the 2016 Register Award recipients. And this is an annual award we give to community members who we believe best portray humanitarian traits, helping fellow neighbors, friends, family members. And we decided, and it was a unanimous decision, according to high-ranking members that are way above my head, that you should be given this honor for all the work you do in forwarding the area's addiction recovery movement. And we just wanted to talk to you today about what it means to you to receive that award, both of you.
All right, you want to go first? I'll let you.
Okay. Well, to me, it was quite humbling. And I don't view myself as a humanitarian. It's not what I do, it's who I am. So, I mean, Joey and I kind of both look at it that way. It's not like it's a job. This is who we are in real life. It's like I go to work and I do this because I do it when I'm not at work. It's just who I am. It was humbling, and it was a lot of gratitude that people look at us like that in the community. It's a good feeling to know that people are starting to not go like, oh, they're an alcoholic or they're a drug addict. It's that people need help, that they're sick.
And Joey, can you maybe touch upon, both of you are living lives in recovery, and tell the audience the education message you try to tell people about what addiction means and what you're trying to do to counteract some stigmas, to enlighten others what it means to be addicted and what it means to be living a sober life.
Well, if you change the culture of thinking, you will change the problem. The problem really is a behavioral health issue where the organ of the body that's affected by addiction is the brain. And usually there's some underlying causes for a person to originally pick up, and sometimes it's just experimentation. 90% of all addiction starts in adolescence. And someone may just experiment casually with some substance, and then they find themselves using it recreationally, then they find themselves abusing it a little bit, and then eventually, if they really, start to abuse it a lot, they become dependent. And so it really is a behavioral health problem. And once that's established, you can treat it not as some kind of moral failing. And that's what the whole community at large that's down at Columbus, at the Ohio Mental Health and Addiction Services, they talk about that. They talk about changing the culture of thinking from one of stigmatization to a behavioral health issue. And again, some of the issues are, some of the addictions are caused by trauma too. People will use a substance to alleviate the pain they're underneath or they're experiencing. And what happens is it works temporarily, but eventually it can consume them.
Tell people who maybe aren't familiar with Artisans what the center does, why it was started, and why it's so important, especially today as we're at the forefront of this epidemic crisis.
Well, it originally started with the concept of using art as, recovery, and that went and still is working quite well with what we do, but it mushroomed into so much more because the need and demand was out there for a place for people who were in recovery to feel comfortable with their recovery and share their recovery stories with each other. And so over the years, actually from the very beginning, and up till today, everyone that is either works at Sandusky Artisans or volunteers there is a person in recovery. So it's a recovery-oriented, and we work with the systems of care around us. So there's actually a movement afoot called Recovery-Oriented Systems of Care, ROSC, down at the state level, which says let's use everybody to tackle this problem. Every agency, every faith-based community, or places like us. We're really we're actually a certified consumer-operated service for the state of Ohio. and we're also a recovery community organization, which is an RCO. So we're a COS/RCO.
What are some major steps Artisans took this past year in 2016 to really educate people about outlets to help them cope with their addiction?
Well, we presented at the recovery conference in last year. We went and traveled to Washington, D.C. to the Facing Addiction rally, which yourself and the Sandusky Register attended. It was well received in the sense that the Surgeon General of the United States of America said that he was going to create a paper on addiction, in which he did. He just fulfilled it. I think it was released on September 17th. And if anyone would want to find out about that, they can just go to SAMHSA's, Substance Abuse Mental Health Service Administration of America, and check that white paper out. We also did our recovery walk, which was, I think, our third annual. We had
which was I counted at least 400 people.
Oh
that
yeah,
came out to it.
We gave away how many T-shirts?
We had 516 registered.
506, yeah.
And we did camp recovery, which we do every year, twice a year.
We presented at the opiate conference last year.
Opiate conference, trauma informed conference. I myself and a gentleman from the state, Ohio Mental Health and Addiction Services, really a great guy who knows his stuff, Kim Kale. We presented on trauma informed care, and I'm a firm believer in that. People usually have trauma in their life, and sometimes their coping mechanisms aren't really what they should be doing, maybe seeking outside help like a counseling agency or something like that. And instead, they pick up some drug, alcohol, and like I said earlier, it just consumes them.
So it seems like this past year was maybe the busiest you two have been as far as advocating, or one of the busiest. Yeah. What fuels your passion for this? How do you keep going, and why do you keep going?
Myself, personally, when Mary was talking, I should mention that Mary had volunteered for nearly 17 years. She just was a volunteer, a full-time volunteer, by the way. And but for myself, I thought about this the other day because I recently celebrated my annual anniversary of recovery, and I thought back to originally why I have been so driven to do this. And 43 years ago, I was in a lot of trouble, and I needed assistance from some lawyers, and I was taken in by a group of men that I did not know, and they helped me out, and they didn't charge me a dime. And I asked them why they did that, and they basically said to me that someday you'll have to do that for someone else. And it touched me in such a way, at such a point in my life when I was pretty despondent, that I thought, this is a remarkable group of people to be around. And from that day forward, I just felt, and when I say I owed, it's not like I feel like I owe it in a bad way, but I think that I need to put back into the universe what was so freely given to me. And I think over the years, it's just become, like Mary says, it's just our life. It's not a work, it's not a job, it's just who we are.
You want to add, Mary, anything to that?
Basically, the same thing happened to me. Today, why I do what I do, different times in your life, and I don't know if anybody else does this, but, I wonder if this is what my higher power, I wonder what I'm supposed to do when I grow up. And I always kind of felt that way, and I've done a number of different things. At one time, I wanted to work for the family business, and I got that opportunity, and that didn't fulfill me. And, when we started doing this, I feel full. My life feels fulfilled. I believe I'm doing what I was meant to do in this world. So it's not a job. I look forward to going to the center every day. I enjoy, helping people. To me, it's about saving people's lives. It really is. It comes about saving somebody's life because somebody took the time out to save mine. And that's what it really is. And I don't want anyone to be one of those people that got mine and then, didn't help anybody else, because that's what we're here to do. In my eyes, that's what we're here to do. We're here to help each other. And Joey always says a lot of times, and this is usually something that Pat will say if he's around, is that people don't need a handout, they need a hand up. And if society looks at them as that they're less than, they're not. They're just a person that has an illness, that needs some help. So come and let us help you. The advantage of someone that comes to our center is that they see a person that's in recovery immediately. They're talking to somebody. It's not, a week away or whatever. It's an immediate. They get connected with the person immediate, whether it's on the phone or whether it's in person. And I think that's one of the advantages that we have with our centers, is being able to connect somebody immediately.
What are your goals for 2017, and how can we get more people in recovery that need the help?
We just want to remain open. We want to remain available. We want to maintain the position that, like I said, we don't charge for this. They come into the center. They just come into the center. It is actually an honor and a blessing to be a part of the recovery community. And speaking as a person who's had some health issues recently, I just pray for the strength to continue on doing that, because I've lived a rich and full life, and I would want that opportunity to be available to everyone. And there was a time when I was where these people are at today, who are looking for help. I know what desperation feels like. And I also know what it feels like to be given hope and to be given a purpose in life, and to live in a community that is caring and nurturing. And I believe, as I said many times on this BTL here, between the lines, that I just think this community is is becoming the paradigm for the state of Ohio as far as recovery goes. And like the newspaper, the sheriff's department, the chief of police, all the different law enforcement, judicial, all the different agencies coming together, trying to help those who need a hand up, not a handout.
Before we sign off, make one final pledge to the camera. I want you to look right at the camera and tell me, if somebody's in recovery or somebody that knows somebody that's struggling with addiction, why should they get sober? Why should they go to Artisans for a resource? Make a pitch to those people right now that might be watching.
Mary, you go ahead if you want first.
If you're struggling, please give us a call at Sandusky Artisans, 419-621-9377. It can possibly change your life. I would love for you to have the opportunity to have a rich and full life as I have. I didn't think I could do this at one point, but somebody gave me hope, and it changed my whole life.
I would say the same, and I would add that you're not alone. There are over 26 million Americans in long-term recovery. About 1 in 4 people in our nation have a mental health challenge, and you can include that with the number of people that have problems with addiction. It is very high. You're not alone. Please give us a call. You're not alone. That's very important.
Well, thank you, and congratulations on winning the Register Awards. It was
Thank you.
Really my pleasure to write that article. You don't know how grateful I am to write on the addiction recovery movement and to feature leaders such as yourselves in our community. I feel it's my mission to publicize your mission and other people's missions that run parallel. So that's truly my privilege.
Likewise, Andy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Andy Oriole. My guests today were Joey and Mary Supina, the 2016 Register Award recipients, publicized in the January 3rd newspaper, a prestigious honor. And that was it for today's Market Street Studio. I want to thank our producer, Erin McLaughlin. You can wave. There she is. Anyways, thank you. This program will be available for on-demand viewing like other Market Street Studio and Between the Lines segments.